I am Shadow the Hedgehog, a research experiment gone deadly wrong. I've caused so much destruction, I should never have been created. This is who I am.
There is something unsettling about the way he says it here. It doesn't sound like he finds himself guilty, but he seems to think of his entire existence as unfortunate circumstance. He says it like someone who already lost the argument with himself. Because that line isn't confidence, it's not even pride, it's not even a verdict. Why? Because there is no one there to give it a score. Shadow doesn't introduce himself or who he is. He sentences himself. And for the longest time, he believed every word of it. Shadow was never born into the world way Sonic was. No wind in his face, no freedom in his step. He didn't open his eyes to a sky, he opened them to a laboratory. Created by a man desperate enough to challenge death itself, Professor Gerald wasn't building a life, he was trying to outrun mortality. And Shadow became the price of that fear. Not a child, not a hero, not even a weapon at first sight. He was proof that humans were too afraid to let go. And maybe that's why Shadow always felt like he never truly belonged to the world, because he wasn't made for it after all. Then there was Marie, soft-spoken, fragile, so human it almost hurt. To the point of breaking. She didn't see the experiment everybody saw, everybody were talking about. She didn't even see the miracle. She saw someone who needed love. And for the first time in his life, Shadow wasn't a result, he was a presence. They looked at Earth together, talked about life together, dreamed together. She gave meaning to a creation that never asked to exist. And when the world finally took her, it didn't just take her body, it corrupted his purpose, his world. Gunfire, panic, zero gravity. And one final wish is spoken with a dying voice that still believed in humanity. Protect them, protect the people of Earth at all cost. Her final wish to Shadow. Shadow carried that sentence like a scar through time. But grief is dangerous. A dangerous translator. Because when Shadow returned in Sonic Adventure 2, he didn't protect the world, he judged it. He believed he was honoring Maria through destruction, through punishment, through extinction of humanity. And that's the terrifying part of it all. Why? Because Shadow couldn't understand what was the meaning of evil, or if his actions were ever evil. He thought he was right. He thought the world deserved the same pain it gave. Every battle, every explosion, every step towards annihilation was a broken version of love trying to speak through rage. Until that memory returned for one last time. Not the anger, not the betrayal, but her smile, her real wish. In that moment, Shadow did something that rewrote his entire existence. He chose the world over grief, and that choice cost him his life. Or at least, it should have. Because when Shadow returned again, he didn't just return with a survivor instinct. He returned as a question, with a question mark above his head. No memory, no clarity, just fragments of past that felt too heavy to be imaginary, and too blurred to be trusted. Was he real? Was Maria real? Were his choices ever his? In Sonic Heroes, Shadow isn't chasing purpose anymore. He's chasing proof that he deserves one.
Sing Chow, and I really just want to get out of this jungle. Can you please have your existential crisis later?
Does this quandary not weigh on your mind?
No!
Why? Because you're racist?
I'm not racist! Frogs don't talk, okay? That's just how it
Or
is.
is that just how you perceive it? How can you know what they think?
I don't care what they think.
Because you're...
Not because I'm racist. We talk, they don't. There's nothing to think about unless we come across a non-sapient crocodile or something.
like that?
Maybe God has forsaken us.
In his own game, the line finally arrives, that codes, the one that sounds powerful. But in actuality, it's a confession whispered through clenched teeth.
I am Shadow the Hedgehog, a research experiment gone deadly wrong. I've caused so much destruction, I should never have been created. This is who I am.
Listen closely to what he's actually saying, the weight behind the words he's speaking out loud. He's not defining himself by what he is or what he chose. He's defining himself by what he has done. He doesn't say, I did terrible things. He says, I should have never existed. And that's not villainy in my eyes. That's not self-insurance. Shadow doesn't want redemption here. He wants extinction of the self. He believes his birth was the original sin, that he should have always been the first to go out. And when someone believes their existence is a crime, they stop believing they're allowed to change.
Disgusting black creatures, get out of my sight.
Then Sonic 06 happens, and for the first time Shadow is driven by rage. He sees a future where he becomes a symbol of ruin, where people speak of his name with fear. And he doesn't reject it, he accepts it, because he agrees with it. But because someone has to carry the burden, Shadow stops fighting to be understood. He starts fighting because the world still needs saving. At all costs, not even of his own forgiveness. And that's the quiet shift of his character, from the emotional revenge to the moral responsibility. Then we arrive at the Generations, the most recent title of these games. Shadow still carries darkness, still carries Maria's memory, still carries the weight, but now it no longer chains him. The same character who once said, I should have never existed, now lives with the truth far more difficult. I exist and I choose what that means. That old code starts to fall apart because you can't protect the world on purpose and still claim you were a mistake by design. You can't carry someone's final wish with devotion and still pretend your life has no value. Shadow's words turn into a lie, not because they were fake when he said them, but because they were no longer true to who he is now. Shadow was never truly a revenge story. He was always a study of guilt, of a survivor's regret, of being born into expectations you never asked for, of living under the shadow of a crime you didn't choose, and still being blamed for it all. Shadow teaches something a few characters ever dared to say out loud, something that was even inspiring to me. You don't outgrow your past by erasing it, you outgrow it by carrying it, without letting it decide who you become. He was built as a weapon, he lived as a ghost, he judged himself as a failure of creation itself. But when he became something far more dangerous than any monster, someone who chose to stay, someone who chose to protect, someone who chose not to let despair be the author of his story, of his destiny. So when you hear that line again, I am Shadow the Hedgehog, a science experiment gone wrong, understand this. That wasn't his destiny. That was his wound speaking. And wounds don't get final words. Maybe that's why Shadow still resonates with it. Because some of us weren't born into the world with worth. Some of us were created by circumstance, trauma, chaos, and loss. And at some point, we all wondered if we should have ever existed at all. But like Shadow, we're still here. Still choosing, still walking forward with the fate on our backs. That's not a mistake, that's the point. And if this is the point, then we should act like it. We should act by it.
I don't know what's going to happen.
I know I'll see you again. And if fate draws us apart, I will always be in your heart.
Maria. Wait.
As well guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you have liked it, share it with the rest of the world. Tell me about your favorite characters in media. And if I like it, and if others also like your comment, then we would also have an analysis on this one sweet of a character you recommend. So guys, just again, yet again, thank you so much for watching. Until the next video, see ya.
Stay out of my way. I have to fulfill my promise. Okay, so I just remembered that what Maria actually said was, give them a chance to be happy.
Oh, really?
In hindsight, it seems out of character for her to ask me to do genocide.
Wow, who would have guessed?
How could I have been so wrong? What was I missing?
Common sense?
I failed her. I failed everyone.
But it's not too late to make it right.
You're right. I'm going to do what Maria would have wanted me to do.
That's the spirit.
I'm going to kill myself.
What is wrong with you?